Hi, everybody. I'm Babs, and welcome back to White Knowledge is Power, Understanding Racism in America and Why White People Should Know Black History. Today, I want to talk about the Tulsa Race Massacre, also known as Black Wall Street. Black Wall Street was something that I had never heard of until I was in my mid-20s. Never learned about it in school. I never heard anybody talking about it. And when I found out what it was, I was devastated and shocked that this wasn't part of the history curriculum in my school. I was shocked that this wasn't something that's taught nationally, that's not spoken about and commemorated, because it's something that is a terrible, terrible stain on American history. So, Black Wall Street. It's officially known as the Tulsa Race Massacre or the Tulsa Race Riot. And we're going to get into the distinction between race riot and race massacre later in the video, because there is an important distinction on how it's known. Black Wall Street was a neighborhood in Tulsa, Oklahoma. It's called the Greenwood District. And what it was a community of Black people who created their own thriving economic community. They had everything from, barbershops, salons, clothing stores, jewelers, hospitals, movie houses, grocery stores, dentists, doctors, lawyers. It was a thriving, robust economic center in Tulsa, ran and owned by Black people. It was this wonderful mecca for them, and it was considered the wealthiest Black enclave in the nation at the time. So why isn't Black Wall Street around today if it was such a thriving economic community? Well, unfortunately, that's because, very much like the Emmett Till case, there was an alleged altercation between a 17-year-old young white woman and a 19-year-old young Black man. So what happened was 19-year-old Dick Rowland, who was a Black shoe shiner in the downtown district of Tulsa, had to use the restroom one day. At the time, in 1921, Tulsa was a segregated city in Oklahoma, a segregated state, okay? So there were only certain bathrooms that he was allowed to use. He went to the Drexler building in Tulsa, where there was a designated spot for him to use the facilities. He went into the building, got into the elevator, which was being operated by a young 17-year-old white woman named Sarah Page. We don't know what happened in the elevator, but something happened or didn't happen, and Sarah Page screamed, causing Dick to run out of the elevator, which made everyone think that something had happened, some kind of sexual assault. These allegations were being thrown around. That's what started this entire massacre that I'm going to talk about. So after the alleged sexual assault or some kind of interaction that happened on this elevator that caused Sarah Page to scream and for Dick Rowland to run out of the elevator, the next day, Dick Rowland was arrested. He was taken to the courthouse, where a crowd started to form of a mob of white people who were saying he needs to be punished, he needs to have consequences. And there was a group of Black people who were saying, nothing happened, this is, don't lynch him, don't kill him, there's no evidence, there's no proof, nothing happened. Unfortunately, it got very heated and there were shots fired. The Black people retreated to their epicenter, which was the Greenwood District, the Black Wall Street area. Unfortunately, the white mob followed them. The white mob consisted of armed rioters, deputized citizens by the local police. They entered the Greenwood District. They looted, burned down businesses, homes, schools, churches, a hospital, a public library, newspaper offices, homes. They destroyed everything. Smoke filled the air. Mobs went from door to door, torching buildings and structures and homes. People who were trying to flee and escape were shot in the streets. It was pure chaos. By 12 noon the next day, June 1st, 1921, the Oklahoma Governor Robinson, issued martial law, which allowed the Oklahoma National Guard to come in and take things over. Officials arrested over 6,000 Black Tulsans and kept them under armed guard. And the only way they would be released is if an employer or a white person vouched for them. They could only get out of jail if an employer or a white citizen vouched for them. 6,000 Black people. Just blows my mind. The official death toll was counted at 36. Historians over the years have gone back through, and they think that the count is actually closer to 300 people killed that night. 800 people were injured. 10,000 people were left homeless, and 35 blocks of the town were destroyed. An entire community wiped out and burned to the ground over an alleged encounter on an elevator one day between two kids, really. So not only did they lose everything during this massacre, but when they filed insurance claims for their lost homes and businesses and buildings, they were denied. The only insurance claim that was granted was a white business owner who had guns stolen during the riot. He got money. This makes me sick. They were never able to rebuild. One thing I want to talk about too is the fact that this massacre has gone under several different names throughout history. It started out as being known as the Tulsa Race Riot. Now, to understand how much of a misnomer that is, let me give you the definition of a riot. Riot, a tumultuous disturbance of the public peace by 3 or more persons assembled together and acting with common intent. I would say the white people rioted. Now, more accurately known currently and how it should be categorized is called the Tulsa Race Massacre. A massacre is the act or an instance of killing a number of usually helpless or unresisting human beings under circumstances of atrocity or cruelty. If the Tulsa Race Massacre doesn't fit that to a T, I don't know what does. So henceforth, it should always be known as the Tulsa Race Massacre or Black Wall Street. Tulsa Race Riot is an insult. Do you want to know something that is even more shocking, or maybe not shocking, but stunning to me, is that the schools in Oklahoma, they've been required to teach about the massacre only since 2002. That's 81 years after the event. And it wasn't until 2020, which was 99 years later, that it became a part of the official Oklahoma school curriculum. A century? Why is this taken a century to become part of the required learning in Oklahoma? And why is it not in the required curriculum for all schools nationwide and worldwide? This is an integral part of our history and something we must learn from so that we're not doomed to repeat these mistakes. An entire community was lost because of false allegations and white hate. That's what it boils down to, hate. Because of someone else's skin color. I just can't imagine losing everything I know everything I love, everything I built with my own two hands, to be taken away like that because of someone's hate for the color of my skin. That's not humanity. And unfortunately, just like my previous video about Emmett Till, no one was held accountable. Nobody was held accountable for this massacre. The loss of 300 lives, the destruction of a wealthy and prestigious and amazing community built up from nothing. Where's the accountability? The last thing that I want to leave you with for this video is a recollection, actually, from Viola Fletcher. She was 107 at the time that she gave this statement, but she was alive during the Tulsa Race Massacre. And this is what she had to say when she testified before Congress in May 2021. She said, on May 31st of 21, I went to bed in my family's home in Greenwood. The neighborhood I fell asleep in that night was rich, not just in terms of wealth, but in culture and heritage. My family had a beautiful home. We had great neighbors. I had friends to play with. I felt safe. I had everything a child could need. I had a bright future. Then came the murderous rampage. I still see Black men being shot, Black bodies lying in the street. I still smell smoke and see fire. I still see Black businesses being burned. I still hear airplanes flying overhead. I hear the screams. Can you imagine? These videos, I know, are tough to watch, tough to listen, and they're tough to make. But they're so important. They're so important. We have to study. We have to know what happened in our own history here in America. To ignore it is detrimental. We'll never survive if we continue to ignore these things. It needs to be taught in schools. We have to confront racism head on. It is structural and integral into American society, and it is the bedrock of which America was built on. This needs to be corrected, and it needs to happen now. I really appreciate your support in watching these videos. Please like, subscribe, share as I continue to make more of these. Please leave comments if you have anything that you'd like me to research and talk about. I am doing this to learn myself as well as to educate others. We just need to do it. We just need the education. We can't fix anything if we ignore it. Thank you so much. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And let's end racism together.